questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Schmelzer, do you have any redirect?
Yes. Just wanted to finish up my note here. Going back to the top here. I'll take that back from you so I don't lose my place with these. So you were asked about attending a Zoom conference for your child one time. Was that the only school conference you ever attended? One ever, entirely, for 3 children in 15 years?
I highly doubt it.
Have you attended other conferences, meetings for sports, extracurriculars, school, medical appointments? Have there just been a lot over the years?
There is a lot when there's 3 children, yes.
You were asked about attending the parent-teacher conferences for Kelsey and Kelvin this last fall. Why didn't you attend those?
I don't. I mean, for starters, I don't really want to be anywhere near Jen, so I'm not going to attend anything that she's attending where I have to be somewhat close to her. At this point, we are not there. I hope we get to that point. I really do. But again, if there's not an issue with what's going on at school, when I see report cards of getting A's, I don't necessarily think that I need to go to a conference when the kids are doing other things and you have to get them to other events. If there was a problem at school, I would absolutely be part of that.
I kind of want to explore, because it was touched on with the PPO issue, that you can attend, I mean, there's no PPO now, but when it was in place, that you understood at a point in time you could attend public events. And you just testified that you didn't go to the parent-teacher conferences in part because Ms. Klusterman was there. Can we explore that a little bit? Why are you so concerned about being in Ms. Klusterman's presence?
Because she scares me. I feel like during this divorce, she has proven that she will do whatever it takes to get her way. And that concerns me. And I just don't want to put myself in a situation where she can accuse me of anything.
I mean, she filed a PPO against you. She made a police report. She made a CPS. Well, she didn't make a CPS report, but she did report allegations to CPS when given the opportunity, right?
Correct.
Is that your concern? Is if you're in her physical presence, she could say anything?
Yes.
Did you feel that some of these allegations that have been lodged against you over the last few months are untrue?
They're all untrue.
Police never charged you with anything.
No, the police never charged me.
CPS didn't substantiate anything. And she's repeating the same allegations. Okay.
Correct.
Do you wish it was that way?
No,
Do you wish you could feel free to attend to your children's appointments and events without a concern about what Ms. Klusterman may accuse you of?
Yeah, I do want to have a friendship with it. She's made it where I just don't trust her, and I don't want to be anywhere near her.
That's really unfortunate for your kids, isn't it?
Yeah, and they know it, and that's even worse.
I don't fully know why this was brought up, but I'm just going to ask some clarifying questions here about your job at UPS. When did that terminate?
I mean, it's probably been 12, 15 years.
And at the time you were working that job, when you and Miss Klusterman got married, right?
I worked there for in the middle of the night for healthcare.
So once you got married, it wasn't really necessary that you worked there for healthcare.
Right. Yeah, it became a lot working all day and then starting work at the early morning hours, and they terminated me for being late a number of times.
Were you terminated for like inappropriate behavior or conduct or anything like that?
No, it was just being late to work. I started at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
And at that point in time, did you and Miss Klusterman work together to determine, what's the best for our family at this point as far as your employment?
Yes, and we actually at the time both agreed that it was time for that to be over with anyway.
Um, with respect to, there was some questions about, snow plowing in the wintertime. And as we had the example today, we got kind of a big, medium size, I don't know what you want to call it. We got a snowstorm that required plowing over last night and this morning. Are the kids in your care this week?
They are not.
So you didn't have to deal with childcare?
No.
Do you have a plan in place that if there is a snowstorm and you do have to work before they go to school, how you're going to handle that?
Yes. My mom or dad will come stay. And I'll be fully transparent here. I hope to get to the point with Jen that we can have that relationship where if it's my parenting time, if I have to work, the kids can go with her for one night or whatever. I mean, I want to be friends with her. I don't want to have to stick with that schedule. If there's an event, say it's my week and there's a music concert, she wants to take the kids to that. I want that relationship with her. So I hope we get to the point like, hey, it's going to snow tonight. Could the kids sleep at your place? I want that to be an option. Jen got in a car accident a couple days ago. I helped out and brought Callie to school yesterday. I appreciated Jen asking me. But yes, the plan is for my mom at this point, because Jen and I don't have that relationship. The plan is for my mom to come stay at the house and be with the kids and play those 5 or 6 hours that I'm gone.
And is that job necessary to provide the financial means to provide your children with food, clothing, a home?
It absolutely is. I do whatever it takes to make things happen for my kids.
Is that any different than she has a job to go to?
It's not any different. Jen actually leaves for work at 7:15. Calvin's home till 8. Kelsey's home alone every day during Jen's parenting time from 8 till about 8:40 until my former brother-in-law comes and picks her up and takes her to school. So the kids are alone under Jen's watch.
Prior to the temporary order, there was a time you were not living in the home, correct?
Correct.
Were you still coming to the house to take your daughter to school in the morning every day?
Yes, every day I would come and pick up Callie to take her to East Middle School, and then I would come back and be with Kelsey until 9 o'clock when she went. And again, I hope we get to that point where I can be there for that hour when Jen can't be, and when I can't be somewhere, I want Jen to be that person. I want to have that relationship.
And because you were kind of doing that at the beginning when you were first separated, where you would come over to the marital home and pick up your daughter and take her to school, is that reflected in the temporary order that was issued in this matter? Do you recall?
I don't recall.
If it is reflected in there, is that because you and probably Ms. Klusterman both shared with the front of the court?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And since that's in there, that says that you are permitted to be able to take the kids to school in the morning. Has Ms. Klusterman offered that to you this school year yet on her weeks?
I mean, Calvin walks. She has not offered it with Kelsey. Callie, she's needed help a couple of times, but I think most of the time Jen takes Callie on her way to work. But no, as far as Kelsey, she has not offered that. As far as I can.
And you were asked about in August of this last year, 2023, in this last summer, there was something about an eye appointment. and a little bit of confusion about that. What happened with that appointment?
Jen let me know that there was an appointment. Um, I, I, I think there was a scheduling conflict. I called the doctor's office and they informed me that I actually had the date wrong. And it was going to be the following. I know what it was. Jen had an appointment at the same time. Jen asked if she could take Callie. I think we had something up. I called the doctor's office and they said, well, actually, that's not the date and time of her appointment. It was the next week. And I let Jen know that the appointment was during her time and not when we thought it was originally.
Did you fail to take your daughter to a medical appointment that was scheduled during your time?
No. I actually called and we had gotten the date wrong and it was during Jen's time that her appointment was scheduled.
To the extent that you did not reschedule the appointment, like it was phrased, why would you not reschedule the appointment?
I'm not going to reschedule an appointment when it's during Jen's time. I mean, if Jen needed me to reschedule it, but it was during her time in the summertime when she was home, she was able to make it. I'm assuming she was able to make it work, but I'm not going to reschedule appointments during Jen's time.
And was she the one who made the original appointment, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, she was.
I mean, you didn't schedule that appointment originally.
No, but I mean, those are made a long time in advance. So,
are you incapable of taking your children to medical appointments?
no, I absolutely will take them, and I took them this August to get their physicals done and their well child checkups. I actually enjoy doing it. It's not. It may have been during our marriage where Jen did those things. It was never that I didn't want to or incapable. And I actually enjoy doing those things with the kids and being a part of that and making it happen. I've enjoyed the increased role, I guess, that we're each having and being involved in different ways that we haven't been. And but no, I'm absolutely capable and willing and all about getting them to where they need to be.
Has this separation, living separately from Miss Klusterman, has it sort of changed a little bit the roles each of you have taken on with the kids?
Absolutely.
I'm
sure for both of us.
Are there things that you've observed that Miss Klusterman did not traditionally do during the marriage that you did that she's now doing?
Yes.
Like what?
She's having to mow the yard.
For the children.
Yeah, she's obviously responsible for all activities when it's her parenting time, as am I. But it's a lot getting all three to where they need to be. I'm sure she would admit it's a lot and crazy, but maybe, I'm sure she's capable, as am I. But yeah, our roles have increased in things that we've got to do. I think we both have people that are willing to help us when we need it. But yeah, things have changed. It's a lot. There's no doubt about it. But I love it.
Speaking of help, there was a question about your mother transporting one of your children to an event instead of you. Why were you not transporting her yourself?
If Callie's got to be to an event an hour early, it's most likely that I would stay working for that hour and then just show up for her game. I try to use my time wisely to get things that I've done. So after the game, I don't have to go back to work, or I can do things with her. I've changed my work schedule a lot to be there for the kids.
Did your parents assist during the marriage sometimes with transportation or child care?
Always. They were always in communication with Jen, helping Jen out as much as possible. They've never said no to helping us in any way.
So is it unusual now that you're separated that your parents are doing some of the transportation to help?
No, they always have. Always have.
Um, there was a question about the body positivity and whether that's important. And the question referenced the video quote, "Put your clothes on, nobody should see that." Is that the video that we saw that we had to go off the YouTube uh, streaming to view? Is that the video that you made that
I
comment?
believe it is, yes.
Okay. And during your direct exam testimony, was it your testimony that the children were not in the room when that video was recorded?
Yes.
And it's true that we don't see a child appear in that video, nor do we hear any children's voices in that video.
Right.
Do you believe it's a fair characterization with all of that, that you said that to Miss Klusterman in front of the children and that affected the children?
I do not believe the children were there when I said that.
What goes on between you and Miss Klusterman personally that the children don't see sometimes isn't pretty, as all human relationships are. But would you say something like that in front of your daughters?
No, I try to be positive with the girls and make sure they have the most confidence in themselves, and even Kelvin for that matter. I want them to think the world of themselves, not worry about what other people think, as far as like what they're wearing or anything like that. I don't want the kids to have a bad image of themselves. I try to be positive with them in everything that they do, and make sure that they know they are loved and all of that good stuff.
You were asked about parental controls on Calvin's phone. There was a discussion that Miss Klusterman put those parental controls on the phone.
Yes, she did. She's in charge of it, but we've had conversations. She includes me in those conversations about timing. I wish they were a little more strict. But Jen has just been in charge of the technology stuff, in charge of the kids' phones. She's in control of the two girls' phones, so I wouldn't have any power over that. I actually do hope to take over control of Calvin's phone, and I will lock it down even more than what it is now because I think it's an issue. Not things that he's looking at or anything like that. I just think it's too much of a time thing for him. So that's actually going to be something that I will be talking to Jen about because I would like control of it. His phone is on my plan, but I'm not taking restrictions off. I'm going to tighten them down to where that thing pretty much is shut off like 10 o'clock at night till 7 in the morning.
I mean, is it fair to say that once parental controls are placed on a phone, somebody else can't then go place the same controls on?
Right. No,
it's done once.
Yeah, it's done once. Yeah.
And is that because Miss Klusterman took it upon herself to do that?
Yes.
And then she informed you?
Yeah.
And at that point, you didn't protest, but you weren't able to go put parental controls on yourself.
Well, right, but Kelvin got his phone. I mean, we were happily married. I had no issue with her taking initiative on that.
Outside of the context of actual controls placed on a technological device, do you have rules in your home about how your children are to use technology?
Absolutely.
What are those rules?
I am constantly asking them to put them away. It's a struggle with Kelvin because he does use it as an alarm clock. This last week that the kids were with me, I was taking the phones when they went to bed and setting them in the kitchen, just because they're getting notifications at all hours of the day. I don't like that. Um, we've gone places. I've had the kids, all three of them, leave their phones at my parents, so they're not accessing them. The girls have gone to friends' houses of my cousins. She's taken the phones while the kids are there, so that they're not just on the phones, and her kids are doing the same thing. So I'm very much in control of what's going on.
So is it fair to say that you parent and establish boundaries with your children?
Very much so. I actually feel like I'm more strict on that with Jen. I even brought up on the Wizard.
So, sorry, go ahead.
I even brought up on the Wizard that I was frustrated with notifications and TikTok and Snapchat at all hours. Jen said she would look into it. It doesn't appear anything has changed as far as that. Hopefully, that's something we can still change and look into. I'm not blaming Jen. I want, those are things I want to work together on.
Is it a fair characterization, as Ms. Klusterman's attorney put it, that Jen just does everything? Ms. Klusterman does everything for the kids. That's why she put the parental controls on. Is that fair characterization?
I think that's what they're trying to paint. That's the picture they're trying to paint.
But I'm asking for your opinion.
That is, it's not true. That's what they're trying to do.
You're very involved in your children.
Am very involved in my children's lives.
And that sort of leads me to, there was that question about the dates of Miss Klusterman's exhibits versus the dates of your exhibits, and why that's different. If we can inspect that a little bit more, the exhibits that Miss Klusterman presented that you had concern with the dates being 2018, 19, even back to 2015, 8 years ago, what were those exhibits portraying?
I believe that she's trying to portray that I'm not a good dad, and not a good husband, whatever.
And basically concerns that she had about your ability to parent your children.
Right.
And within the context of, I have a concern about parenting that's so important that I need to tell the court about it, why is the date relevant in your opinion?
Well, we've had issues. Some of those dates are before other issues we've had, and they were never brought up then.
Is there something here that do you believe that if Ms. Klusterman was so concerned in 2015 or 2018 that it's reasonable that she would have a safety concern back 6-8 years ago, but just be bringing it up now?
I think if she had a real concern, she would have done something then.
And is it your testimony that she didn't back then?
She definitely did not. There were a lot of times I went to Florida with Callie. I went away with Callie to hockey events. Nothing was ever said, or you shouldn't be in this situation. It was nothing. It was nothing.
Now, as far as the dates go, with respect to the pictures you presented, what were you trying to convey to the court with those pictures that you presented?
That I'm very active and caring and a loving dad. That my kids are a huge part of my life. I want to show that I love my kids more than anything in this world, and they are my focus. They always will be. I love them more than anything. I will do anything for them. They come first in everything I do.
Do you see that showing a long history of being present and involved in your children's activities is different than somebody saying, I have a concern of safety for my children 8 years ago that I'm just now bringing up? Is that different to you?
Yeah, it's different. Yes, very different.
The question was posed, a lot of those pictures were the image was captured by Ms. Klusterman. Is that because you guys were doing stuff as a family?
Yeah, we always did stuff as a family.
So she was there, you were there, you guys were doing stuff with your kids together.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Yeah.
I want to go back here a little bit and ask about the questions that were asked about, the PPO being served on you. There were some questions about when your mom and sister went to pick up your kids for parenting time. In your recollection, was that before or after you were served with the PPO?
That was before I was served with PPO. Things were stressful with Jen, but it was between Jen and I, and my mom went, which is not uncommon. My family's always been involved. But that was before the PPO.
And your mom and sister returned to you without the children.
Correct.
So the question, did you forfeit your parenting time? You answered yes, but did you really understand that question?
Well, I mean, I forfeited it because I was told I had to until I got guidance from you, and that was a stressful.
Well, let's back up here. What does forfeit mean to you?
Forfeit means I chose to not take them, and that is not what happened.
Okay. What did happen?
Jen refused to give them to us.
To your mom and sister?
Yes.
Who arrived before, or who you at least sent over there prior to you having knowledge of being served with this PPO?
Correct.
They returned back to you with no children?
Correct.
And then you got served with the PPO?
Yes.
And at that point, you had no idea what was going on?
I had no idea what was going on.
And the dates of that, and I think that's already in the record, that was 4th of July weekend, right?
Correct.
Do you believe that you voluntarily forfeited parenting time that weekend?
I definitely did not voluntarily forfeit Cherry Festival.
Was that the first Cherry Festival you'd ever missed with your kids?
It was.
Was that the first 4th of July you'd ever missed with your kids?
It was.
Was that the first time you ever missed seeing an air show in a year with your kids?
Yeah, we had always done the air shows together as a family.
And your testimony was you didn't really know what Our Family Wizard was when you read it on the PPO paperwork, correct?
Correct.
We heard testimony that Ms. Klusterman actually had somebody come from her attorney's office to help her download Our Family Wizard onto her phone.
Correct.
Did you have that opportunity when you were served with the PPO over 4th of July weekend?
I did not.
As soon as business reopened, you took care of the Our Family Wizard issue, right?
Correct.
There's a lot of questions about the police looking for you. When you finally connected with the police, that was for service of the PPO, right?
Yes.
It was not, you were being looked for as if you were a criminal of some sort, right?
I was not being looked for.
Okay. And you did connect with a police officer and he handed you the PPO and you accepted that. It was a totally
yes,
calm exchange.
Yeah, I had woken up to they called me and I answered the phone and they asked if they could come to the house and have me sign something, and that's what happened.
And you fully cooperated.
Oh, absolutely.
There was a lot of discussion about this coat that you purchased for your daughter recently. Was there some discussion between you and Miss Klusterman about purchasing a coat prior to you actually purchasing this coat?
Yes, we had agreed to split the cost of a coat. We never talked money. Kelsey's our kid that She rarely gets new stuff. She doesn't. She doesn't play hockey. She gets a lot of hand-me-downs. Um, she loves to ski. I wanted her warm. Jen and I had agreed to split the cost of the coat. We didn't talk about what that amount would be. Um, we spend thousands of dollars on hockey sticks and skates. I feel like it's justified to buy my daughter a $220, $240, whatever it was, a tax coat to stay warm skiing when we had literally a week before spent $800 on hockey skates and $400 on actually spent like $700 on 2 hockey sticks. I think it's fair to give my daughter a 200 and some dollar coat and not think it's a big deal about splitting the cost.
Prior to this coat discussion, has there been a lot of expenses over this course of this separation and temporary order in place for the children that there has been ongoing discussion about splitting?
Yeah, we've agreed to split the stuff. Sometimes we argue about it. We've agreed to, I thought we had agreed to share hockey costs. That's not working out that way. Jen has stuck me with, it's interesting that she only brought up the coat but didn't bring up the hockey equipment. I spent probably $1,200, between $1,000 on hockey equipment a month ago, 3 weeks ago, that Jen and I had agreed to split all hockey costs. She has denied, or she has refused to pay me that. And she agreed to pay that. She agreed to pay for the coat. She has not done that.
Has she purchased things for the kids without garnering your agreement ahead of time and then just said, hey, here's the amount of money you owe me?
Yes, she has. And I pay for those things and split. And I don't want to fight with her. I want to do what's best for the kids. I feel like Jen's taking advantage of that because she knows that I'll do the right thing and get the kids the things that they need. Yeah, $240 a lot for a coat. I want Kelsey warm. Kelsey deserves nice things like the other two.
And you mentioned skiing. I mean, you're outside for long periods of time in the cold skiing.
Yes, and she froze last year. And I want her to have nice things, and she deserves a expensive coat.
When Miss Fisherman refused to contribute half after you purchased it, after she said she would contribute half, did you take the coat away from her? Did you return it?
No, I did not return it.
So what was the dispute? What was going on with respect to the request to send it over to Miss Fisherman's house or the old coat?
I'm not sure why Jen wanted the old coat. I assumed it was so she could sell it.
Did she initially tell you it was for something else that she wanted it?
She initially told me that it was for Gracie, and then I said, well, I could just give it to Gracie. And she said, no, you will give me that coat tonight. And we gave it to her, and we ended up sending Kelsey's new coat over. Kelsey, I can't say what she said. Kelsey had no problem with the coat staying at the house. It had nothing to do with Jen not, it had absolutely nothing to do with Jen not paying the half. That was right away. That was really before Jen and I started to argue about the cost of that stuff, about the cost of the coat. And we sent the coat over. At that point, it wasn't even cold. Kelsey wasn't needing a coat and just likes to wear sweatshirts. She's not always a big fan of wearing a coat. But I'm not holding anything against Jen or playing a game. That was never my intention.
Is it frustrating that it's turned into this big deal to buy your child a winter coat?
Yeah, it's a real pain. I don't want it like this for the next 8 years. I
Has Miss Klusterman also made other demands for money towards you?
She has
Um,
other stuff for the kids.
and I use the word demand specifically. What is she saying? What is the context of the things she's saying?
She gives me a lot of attitude. She's just telling me I have to pay half. Um, it's just, I'm just tired of the fighting, tired of the games. I just want to get along. And I'm really hopeful that this stuff stops and we can move forward together. Um, this is just not fun. Um, I understand if Jen doesn't have a ton of money right now for paying these things, but then this is why I said that maybe the kids shouldn't play hockey and because it's expensive. We're both spending a lot of money to do what we're doing with the divorce, and but we agreed to pay 50-50, and it's just like it's a game. Um, it's just getting old, and I want to move forward where we just do things for the kids together and make things the best for the kids and get the kids the things that they always need and want. And I want to get to the point where I can buy a coat and not have to ask Jen for half, and Jen buys something and she doesn't ask me for half, and it's just about the kids. And because I don't want to have to ask Jen for money. That's not fun.
I need to ask about the coat. Did your daughter need a winter coat?
She needed a coat, yes. Her old coat was too small.
And you provided her what she needed.
Yes, we went to a number of stores and I let her choose the one that she liked, and she was super excited about it. And I was excited about it, and I had let Jen know that where we were going and different stores that we were going to try and check there, and I would keep her posted. And she said she would pay for half. At no point did she say, "This is my budget." Um, we that's not a conversation we really had over the years. We do what we need to do to get the kids the things that they need. Yeah, it's an expensive coat, but it'll last her a couple of years. And again, I want her to have the nice things for the sport that she loves to do. And I have a problem with spending so much on like hockey skates and she gets a cheap coat to save $50. No, I want her to have the coat that she wanted and that she picked out. But I want her to be excited about, and she was super excited about it. I'm sure Jen would agree that she saw that out of her too.
I want to switch gears here.
I'm going to interrupt real quick. You can hear me, correct?
Yes.
Because I can hear everyone. The computer screen is frozen, so I'm gonna the recording's still going and everything. I'm gonna restart. We'll take about a 5-minute break. I'll figure this out and we'll be right with you. Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Are we ready to continue?
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Just for my purposes, we're back on the record on case number 2317423DM. Ms. Schmelzer, thank you.
Mr. Kusman, I just want to change gears from where we are. There was a question about the video recording that was admitted as evidence by Ms. Klusterman, where you were speaking with your son Calvin and you used kind of the phrase uncoachable. Do you recall about how old Calvin was in that video?
I'm guessing he was 11, 12.
And how old is he today?
He's 15.
How long before he turns 16?
He'll be 16 in March.
Is he uncoachable?
I actually think he's very coachable now.
Have things changed in all those years?
Yes, absolutely, because his drive to be the best makes him want to soak up all knowledge that anybody can give him as far as a coach or Jen and I.
And since that video was taken, say 3, 4, almost 5 years have passed, right?
Right,
Kids grow up, they mature.
right,
Did Calvin grow up and mature?
absolutely.
And have you worked extensively with him in all those years to improve his sporting?
Absolutely. Well, sports and classroom, whatever it is, Jen and I both push him to be the best, and he wants to be pushed and do the best that he can in anything and everything that he's doing.
Have you overheard Miss Klusterman having tough conversations with Calvin about education or sports performances as well?
I have.
What kind of stuff does she say to him?
Similar stuff. I mean, she might not know terminology of whatever hockey, but she tells him he needs to skate faster, harder. She probably yells more at Callie's games than maybe Kelvin's games. Even to the point where I've said we've got to cool it with her. It's just different with her. She's out there doing her best, but likes to hear just positive stuff and have fun with her friends. And it's just, I mean, every kid's going to be different.
When you say that she yells, what kind of things is she saying? Is she?
I mean, it could be something simple as skate Callie or go Callie, or I mean, and all parents do it. It's no different than what I'm saying to Calvin. He just likes to be pushed in a different way. He'd be the first to tell you that. Jen knows that. Jen pushes him too. The girls just want to be pushed in a different way. It's just different. You got to read your kids and know. That is not something that Calvin complains about from Jen or I. Again, that is one driven young man. And he's super excited when we put, like in his weights class, when we push him to do better and better. I mean, he's quick to text us both and say, I don't know, he's understand what he's talking about, but he'll be like, oh, I just PR'd in this personal record in this. And we, we're both, oh, great job. We're so proud of you and love you. And, he loves that gratification too, but he wants to be pushed to hit that next step. And we both push him. Jen does the same thing, and because Calvin thrives on that. It's not. I could even give an example of recently. Calvin really questioned whether he wanted to play high school hockey, and that was. I think that was hard on Jen and I both to see that all of a sudden he's like, I don't want to play. And I didn't actually believe him that he didn't want to play. I think he was scared that he wasn't going to make the team. And Jen, we had these conversations. What do we do? Do we let him stop? And we made the decision to push him, and we made him play. And he is pretty happy that we pushed him to play. I can't say what he said, but I know he knows it would have been a big mistake. I gave up football after my junior year in high school. That's one of my biggest regrets is not playing, and we don't want them to make that same mistake. And but I know Jen was hurt that he thought about giving, but I'm sure she's glad, we haven't talked about this, but glad that he played, and because he's loving it. Absolutely loves it, but he was scared, and we're always pushing the kids each in their own way. It's not to put them down; it's to push them and motivate them and help them achieve with their goals as an athlete or a student or whatever they're doing.
With respect to the uncoachable comment that was made to Calvin 3-4 years ago, has that affected in a negative way the relationship you have with Calvin today?
No, I don't think I could possibly be any closer with Calvin than what I am right now. I talk to him multiple times a day. He calls me after any practice. He calls me and texts me after weights class. I mean, we are in constant communication. And I have that with the other two as well. No, I don't think I could possibly be any closer to Kelvin than what I am right now. I love that kid more than anything, and I'm incredibly proud of him.
There was a question that asking you that if your involvement with the children at present is due to the temporary order, meaning I believe it was insinuated that that you're posturing for this court as far as your involvement with the children, and that you only started doing it when the temporary order came to place. Is that true?
That couldn't be more of a false statement. I love doing everything for the kids. Obviously Jen and I's roles have adjusted. We become fully responsible when the kids are with us, and it's changed. It's made it difficult at times, but not that I want a divorce or anything like that, but I actually kind of love being a single parent and doing everything with these kids. The kids seem like they're in a great place. They're calm. They're doing well at everything that they're doing. I love being involved in the different things that I may not have been involved in before because Jen handled certain things. It was never because I just wasn't doing something. It was because we each had our role in our relationship, and I've enjoyed transitioning to doing the other things, and I enjoy getting the kids up and getting their lunches and sandwiches. Calvin takes 4 sandwiches. The kids eat at school, but they take snacks, and I love doing that and making the sandwiches and helping out where I can and getting them to the things that they need and picking them up from school and taking care of dinner. I am anxious to be back in the house where I'm not in somebody else's space. I'm anxious for my parents to get back to just being them.
Has it been hard being removed from your home?
It's very hard. I feel like I've invaded somebody else's space. I feel like a guest.
On the other hand, was it necessary given the tensions between you and Miss Klusterman throughout this proceedings?
Yes, it was very necessary, and I think it's better for Jen, it's better for me, it's better for the kids. I think the kids are liking how things are. I think Jen has made comments about how it's calmer with me not at her house. It's the exact same way when the kids are with me and not having Jen around. Jen and I just didn't get along like you need to in a marriage. The kids deserve better. The kids are in a great place. Well, we're very anxious to get back into the house, get a routine where I'm making dinners with my dishes, fully my food, all that stuff. Because again, I feel like I'm a visitor in my parents' home. I can't stress enough how anxious I am to get back in the house whenever that time is. It's give Jen all the time that she needs.
And there was, speaking of that, there was some reference to you making a countdown of when Miss Klusterman was leaving the home. Was that a countdown of when you would be able to resume your normal life in the home, you've had for years?
Yeah, absolutely.
And was there also conversations with Miss Klusterman that you would be flexible with allowing her the time she needed to move and make the move peaceful?
Yes, I told her I didn't want her buying anything that she didn't love.
Meaning buying a house.
Yeah, buying a house. I hope that's what she did. I want her to be happy. I want the best for her.
And with respect to the communications between yourself and Miss Klusterman, either on Our Family Wizard or text or something like that, to your knowledge, the children are not aware of those communications back and forth between you and her.
They don't see anything on my end. I assume that Jen's not showing them anything.
So to the extent that you guys get into disagreements or, have your issues as you're sorting out this new co-parenting lifestyle, to your knowledge, the kids are not exposed to any of that.
Oh, no, I don't believe they are.
I mean, at least on your end.
Not my end. I don't think Jen is.
So if Miss Klusterman is, you better do this tonight or something like that, as far as on your end, kids aren't aware of her talking to you like that.
Well, I mean, as far as when the coat situation, I was on the phone with Kelsey and Jen was yelling in the background that you will give me that coat tonight. So yeah, Kelsey heard that because I was talking to Kelsey on the phone and I heard Jen yelling in the background. So yeah, Jen included Kelsey in that situation.
If you are upset with Miss Klusterman and express that to her, do you do that in the format of a message directly to her versus yelling over your child on the phone?
Yes, if I'm frustrated with Jen, I send her a message, and that's where that countdown stuff is because I'm tired of the games. I'm tired of this is stupid. I mean, being told that I don't go to counseling appointments and I shouldn't have my kids because of that it's just dumb. It's a transition. We both want what's best for the kids. It's just Jen not getting her way, and she's making all this stuff up to try to get her way. And I just want that done when we move forward together, is doing what's best for the kids in everything that we do.
So I just want to clarify. I mean, those are private messages between you and Miss Klusterman, but Miss Klusterman's saying things in front of the children on the phone, making demands of you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the time that it happened. I think normally the kids aren't aware, but they were aware of it, that situation, which, I mean, it kind of bummed me out because Kelsey didn't say anything, but I kind of felt like it took away her excitement of having a coat, and all of a sudden Jen and I are arguing about a coat. That kind of made me feel bad. I'm sure Jen would say the same thing.
I want to talk to you about the question regarding Danielle Clayton taking the children or taking your two daughters to Grand Rapids. Can you please explain how that situation came about and what was going on?
The four kids are very close friends.
And who are the four kids?
Callie, Kelsey, and the Clayton girls, Kylie and Maddie are their names. They are very close. The girls started texting about wanting to do a shopping day. At no point did I actually have any communication with Danielle about it. Danielle reached out to my mom, actually, because I knew that was going to be an issue with Jen. And it got back to Jen that the girls were going, and Jen started sending me messages on the Wizard forbidding me to allow them to see their friends. Exact wording. I mean, it was pretty much that she did not want that to happen. As far as I know, she has no control over what I do with the kids during my parenting time, as I don't when they're with her. They're at no harm in that situation. They had an absolute blast. And when the trip actually got started, it was just Callie. And I went back and forth on whether I was going to allow it because I knew Jen was going to make an issue. I just knew it. And then Kelsey started asking if she could go. And I first said no because I was scared of the repercussions of what Jen was going to do.
What was the trip for?
They were just going to go shopping for the day with their friends to Grand Rapids, go to outlets, and we decided I was going to take the heat, and I let Kelsey go. And
were you unable to, I guess, were you relegating parenting duties, or were you letting your children, be social and do something fun?
I was letting the children be social with their friends, and they were so excited to go, and gave them money to go. And
was it common during your marriage, and or have you observed Miss Klusterman, send the kids off with other parents of friends so that the kids could do social things with friends?
Absolutely.
So there's also been times where she's not accompanied your children and they've gone off with other people, other friends, parents, that certainly everyone's vetted and made sure they're safe.
Yeah. The last time, not right now with Jen having the kids, the last time she sent Callie to on one of her hockey weekends, and Jen met up after work, and Callie stays over. And that's great. I don't have an issue. It works great. Jen had to work. It works great for Callie to be able to go do things that she wants to do. But that trip to Grand Rapids, the girls were so excited when they got back, and had so much fun. And that just, I knew I was going to hear about it from Jen, and she made a big deal about it. But I knew I had done the right thing and let it go. And but it was a long day because I was nervous about.
No, we've heard allegations here today that Miss Klusterman believes you're having a romantic relationship with a Danielle Clayton. You didn't go on this trip.
No, I didn't go.
And she's upset about that.
She's upset I let the kids go with Danielle.
Is this a kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't situation? Had you gone, would there be a different upset, in your opinion? Do you think?
Oh yeah, it would have been if I would have gone. Yeah, and that would have been inappropriate for me to go with them. But
how long? Sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to do what's best for the kids, and I had nothing to do with it. I mean, I've made the ultimate decision, but the kids were texting back and forth to each other. Danielle reached out to my mom to clarify, and my mom even had a conversation with Danielle about how Jen was upset and we were scared.
I'm going to object, as he can't testify as to what his mom told Miss Clayton.
Okay. We were just concerned. I was actually concerned that they were heading to Grand Rapids, that maybe Jen was going to follow them. She tracks their phones. There are times we go to places for 5 minutes and Jen asks the kids why they were so and so. It's really eerie how much Jen tracks the kids when they're with me, and how she knows everything that we're doing. She was texting the girls constantly that day. My kids were safe. They were in a safe environment. They were with somebody that loves those kids and takes care of them. The kids, the two girls had a fantastic day. I will always do what's best for my children, and that day was to go to Grand Rapids with the Clayton girls.
How long have your daughters been friends with the Clayton girls?
I would say a few years.
A few as in 5, 3?
I'll say 3.
3 years. Okay.
They are very close friends.
When you testified and were questioned about Miss Klusterman being a teacher and you following her lead with respect to education, does that mean you're not involved in the children's education at all, or that you defer to Miss Klusterman in discussions about your children's education, that you involve her because of her specialized knowledge as a teacher?
I involve her because she's very good at what she does, and um, in no way do I not want to be part of that stuff. I just think Jen's great at that, and I've always just follow her lead because it's in her line of work, and she's excellent at it. Um,
Are there things that you're good at, that you have talents or knowledge of, um, that maybe Miss Klusterman doesn't, that you would have, something to say about if it came to the kids, like maybe
Yeah.
sports or something
yeah,
like that,
absolutely,
certain sports?
absolutely.
Um, I mean, do you feel like it's a benefit to your children to expound upon each of the parents' individual talents or skills or knowledge to help your children?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Does that mean you're incapable of knowing or doing anything with respect to their education?
No, that's
And have
not true
you
at all.
never been involved in their education before?
No, I'm involved. I keep track of weekly grades, and on the phone, whether it's the kids are with me. Or last week, the week before, maybe Kelvin's grades that's slipped. I mean, it's a weekly thing, so they have time to. And I call them up and say, hey, what can we do here, and what happened here, and I know Jen does too, and but right next week his grades are right back up to where they need to be, and our expectations of where they need to be, and into his expectations. But just because I didn't go to a parent teacher conference for my kid that gets all A's and one B, I don't see the point. I think if there was an issue, we'd see it in his grades. If there was an issue, we'd hear from the teacher. Jen has just had that personal relationship with the teachers, and she likes to know more about what's going on in and that's great. It's not that I don't want to know. I just my parents never went to a single. My mom, I mean, never went to a single parent teacher conference of mine. I think Jen does that because she's the teacher, and that's great. That's what she chooses to do. But again, my kids are doing great in school. There's not an issue.
Um, there was a question about whether or not the relationship between your parents and Miss Kluserman is strained at this point in time.
It's very strange.
Are your parents supportive of you and involved in supporting you through this divorce action?
Absolutely, but yeah, with time it'll get better between them and Jen. They are very hurt by these accusations that she has just thrown at me, and she knows that it's just a lie. And she'll just show up at a sporting event and act like my mom is supposed to just be all lovey-dovey with her, when Jen has just lied to the court, lied to the police, lied to CPS. Of course my mom's going to be upset. Does that mean my mom's not is mean to Jen? No, my mom is just silent right now. She's upset. She's hurting. I mean, she sees me all upset. Any parent would be upset. I'm sure her parents are upset and sad. But my parents they love Jen. They're hurt by this whole situation is happening. But they want a relationship with Jen. It's just in a strange place right now, because this isn't a normal divorce. There's nothing about this that is normal.
Does Miss Klusterman saying things to you and your mother, or that you and your mother can go F off at a softball game for the children, do you feel like that helps the situation?
That does not help the situation at all. It's just weird right now, and they don't like it either. They never say anything bad about Jen. it's just in a weird situation, just a weird place right now, and they want to move past this and be civil and not be worried about what's going on or any of that. They just want normalcy. They want what's best for the kids. They want what's best for me. They want what's best for Jen. They will always love Jen. They're just hurt right now.
I have no further questions.
Hey, Ms. Lentz, any final questions for this witness?
Just very briefly, Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Kloosterman, so I understand your testimony. You think conferences are only beneficial if a child is doing poorly in school.
Or misbehaving. Our kids are not misbehaving. They're not getting bad grades.
So you don't think there's any benefit to knowing and meeting your child's teacher in person, your child knowing that you attended their school conference, no benefits there?
Oh, there can be benefits, but there's no harm in not. I mean, I know who their teachers are. I know how they're doing.
And
We
Mr.
get so
Kloosterman,
many emails as far as from the school. I know what's going on.
are you aware that at the time Calvin had conferences this past month, he had a C- and a C?
Yeah, I just made it very clear that I follow the kids' grades and talk with the kids about getting them back up.
But you consider
There's some responsibility there for Calvin to get his grades up. It's not the teacher's responsibility to get Calvin's grades back up. Calvin does what he needs to do. His grades get back up, and the next week they're up. If there was an issue needed, we get weekly grades.
Are you familiar with the phrase practice what you preach?
Absolutely.
So you kind of gave this whole long speech about how you hope that Jen and you can get to this point where you can adjust your parenting time schedules to coordinate for special events or someone's running late, whatnot. Do you remember that kind of dialogue you gave?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I want, 100%.
All right. So on November 21st, like literally last week, Ms. Kloosterman texted you and asked if you would be flexible with her midweek visit, which occurs on 5 to 8. Is that correct? That's a yes or no answer.
Yes.
Okay. And I am going to remind you of your response, which says, your parenting time starts at 5 and ends at 8. I don't care what you do, but I expect the kids to be back at 8. Correct?
Okay.
That's what you said.
That is correct.
All right. So really that whole speech you gave, you're not actually practicing that or even attempting to do it right now.
Nope, that's not true at all.
All right, Mr. Kloosterman, you had a lot of communication or dialogue about Ms. Kloosterman not paying you for things. You out earn her though. Is that correct?
Not a ton, no.
Okay, but we submitted a stipulation for income for this and you out earn her by about $12,721 per that stipulation, correct?
Okay, that's fair.
So why would a 50-50 split be fair if you're earning more money than her?
A 50-50 split on like a coat?
Yeah, why would that be fair if you out earn her?
Well, we could talk about how since April I've 100% paid the mortgage. That's $2,000. So I'm $2,000 ahead right there.
And you're keeping the house, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Kloosterman, Miss Kloosterman is still waiting on you for a check for the house, correct?
Correct.
And she's waiting on you for sale proceeds from a truck that you haven't given her yet, correct?
I have not done anything with the check, correct?
Okay, so you're asking for all this reimbursement, but you owe her money right now, correct?
Yeah, correct.
And
I'm not sure how those two are connected, but
you kind of, it's not your job to interpret that. You kind of gave a speech about, oh, for lack of a better term, kumbaya, about Jen wants to stay in the house longer. She can, I'll be flexible. Do you recall that testimony?
absolutely, that's what I've told Jen.
And on October 25th, 2023, you texted her, 36 days, my friend, better find a place to live, correct?
I'm not sure I texted that. They may have been in the wizard, but
Okay, but you said that.
absolutely.
It doesn't really have a friendly connotation to it, does it?
if I've made a comment
Oh,
like
it's
that,
just
it's in
yes or no.
response to something Jen said.
Okay, so does that have a friendly connotation to it? Yes or no?
No, probably not.
And you said you're in constant communication with your son Calvin, is that correct?
Yeah, pretty constant, yes.
Did you talk to him last night on the phone?
I probably did.
During that call, did you ask your minor son to lie to the plaintiff about the location of a pink bike?
No.
You
Yeah,
testified
the location, no.
you testified about this eye appointment situation, and during that testimony you said you believe Miss Kloosterman made that appointment for the children, correct?
Okay, correct.
Is that okay?
Yes,
Is that
sir.
because Miss Kloosterman schedules all the children's doctor's appointments during your marriage?
I wouldn't say all, but probably most, as most mothers probably do. That's not reason enough to get the kids 100% of the time.
I didn't say it was, but you know,
Yeah, well,
you
I'm
have
saying it's
hands,
not.
you have a phone, right? You could easily pick up the phone and call and make an appointment for your child, correct? There's nothing preventing
Yep,
you from
we
doing that.
divided and conquered, each had our roles in our marriage in parenting.
And Mr. Kloosterman, there's been some testimony over the past 3 days about your mom helping out with parenting. Do you recall that?
Yeah, my parents are fantastic grandparents and always willing to be there for me, Jen, and the kids.
Would you say that your mom does more parenting than you do?
Not even close.
Do you find it odd that Miss Clayton reached out to your mom to coordinate this Grand Rapids trip instead of you?
No, I don't, because Jen
Oh,
is.
no, it's fine.
No, I don't.
There has been a lot of talk about conversations that occurred between you and Miss Kloosterman and if the children overhear them or not. Do you recall those questions?
Yep.
So every time I asked you if the children overheard or were in the room when you said something mean to Miss Kloosterman, you said they weren't there or I don't think they heard me. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then this one instant you just discussed about Miss Kloosterman allegedly yelling about the coat. You said, oh, for sure, the child overheard that. Is that correct?
Yes, because I was on the phone with Kelsey.
Do you think it's convenient that your one incident, the child overheard, and every other scenario we brought up, there's no way the child heard? Do you think it's convenient?
I don't think it's convenient, but it's what happened.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Schmelzer, anything further?
Yes, briefly. Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, I meant any other witnesses. Here's the thing. I'll allow a few extra questions because I feel like factually there were a few things that were questioned on this. Final questions that weren't brought up before. But we're not going through a whole nother direct. I mean, the bike question was brand new, and then some of the answers he wasn't allowed to finish with. So we're not going to go through another hour of redirect. Understood, Ms. Schmelzer?
Yes, I don't plan to do that. Thank you.
And then and so we're all clear, Ms. Lentz is going to have the final questions. So let's, at some point, you're going to turn these facts over to me and I'll decide them. So you can ask questions, but keep that in mind. That's been the format for every trial I do and for this specific, every witness here. So I'm just letting everyone know in case there's another objection to that process. Ms. Schmelzer.
That's news to me. Usually, the final question.
Thank you. Next question, please.
From the person calling the witness. So I do have a standing objection to that. But
understood. Next question, please.
Sir, what is this pink bike? What came up with that? Can you explain that?
The kids have it's a pink mini bike, like a little motorbike that one of my uncles lets the kids use. Kelvin had tried to use it a few weeks back, and him and his friends like broke it or something. Kelvin asked me to fix it, and so he gave it to me to fix. Then Saturday night, Jen started messaging me on the Wizard about it, telling me I stole it and I'd be hearing from her attorney about it and threatening me. And I just said, yeah, I have it. Kelvin asked me to fix it, and that's where we're at. So I have the bike to fix. It's not Jen's bike. It's not my bike. It's not the kid's bike. It's my uncle's bike. But the kids are using it. Kelvin broke the chain. Him and his friends broke the chain, so I have it to fix it. I think Jen is just trying to claim everything that she can to. I mean, it's something the kids use. It's not Jen's. It's not mine. And I just have it. She accused me of breaking into the house to steal it, and that's not the case. I never told Kelvin a lie where it's at. I told Jen Saturday where it was at. I told her that I had it to fix it, and that's the story.
The question was asked of you if it was odd, or you felt it was odd, that Miss Clayton reached out to your mom instead of you directly regarding this shopping trip to Grand Rapids, and you said no, and you began to explain the reason why you were cut off. So could you explain the reason why you don't think it's odd?
I don't think it's odd. Everyone in our friends, family, everybody knows what's going on. Everybody wants to stay out of it. People don't want to be brought into it. No one wants to create things for Jen and I to argue about. So I have very, very little communication with Danielle these days. It's about the kids, but for that situation, she reached out to my mom. Because again, she just doesn't want to make anything. I mean, people know how Jen is attacking me, or if I go after Jen, or whatever it is. People know. People are tired of it. They're tired of it for us. They don't want to be part of it. So Danielle reached out to my mom about going, and I obviously knew what was going on. We're just trying to make this run smoothly and not create arguments. And this is just nonsense. It's just nonsense. I just want to do what's best for the kids. It's simple as that. If the kids want to do something with their friend, I felt they were in a safe situation, I let them go. Jen made it very clear she didn't want them to go. She actually told me she forbid it. And I decided that I would deal with the wrath. And here we are.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, last possible question for this witness. How many all right.
2.
Go ahead.
Mr. Klusman, did you go to the marital residence to get the bike?
He brought it to me at the house, yes.
And you're aware
Did I step foot on the property? I can't say I did. I mean, he brought it out to me.
Okay, so you're aware there's an order for my client having exclusive use of that property.
Okay, but okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. The court's going to take the matter under advisement. If you choose to file a written closing, you must do so within the next 21 days. That'll be a 20-page limit, double spaced. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.